Today we're going to start with mapping the broad field, and I'm going to invite you to think with me with a metaphor that we think about what does it take to play on this field. As you can see on the slide, we're using the soccer field as an example, a metaphor. So we will start by prompting to say, what counts as research? In the past, it was easy. It was a well-documented research process that led to a publication in a well-known and accredited and well-ranked journal. But nowadays, with blogs and tweets and all types of digital scholarship, the notion of what counts as research suddenly is no longer so sure. The second issue in this field, each player has a predetermined position. So my question is, who determines the rules? What counts as research? What counts as ethical conduct? What are the written rules in our policies, in our ethical review processes? But also, what are the unwritten rules? The third aspect that we think of, each of those players on the field, they also have specific talents and skills. And I think moving from a traditional research model to thinking about ethics in research in digital scholarship changes the skills that all our researchers don't necessarily have the ethical makeup or think through the ethical issues in this new playing field. The last aspect that I would like to discuss with you and map with you today is who determines the size of the field. Now that we've mapped the field and keep the metaphor of the soccer field or the playing field at the back of your mind, now we're turning specifically to some of the issues that I think that is now different in a digital age of scholarship that changes the way we think about ethics. The first issue that I would like to raise with you today is the issue of funding. Funding increasingly follows performance. Nowadays, researchers are not only known for what they've published, but with regard to how much funding they brought to the research project. And that changes the ethical considerations. So who funds this performance as research? Who funds it and what are their expectations? What is their ethical makeup? The second issue that I would like to raise is the increased pressure to publish or perish. We hear it more and more that researchers in the international and national domain say it's no longer publish or perish, it's publish and perish. And that's why in this field of the increased pressure to publish, it changes the rules and it makes it so much easier to reconsider to be ethical or not. The third aspect is the role of citations. In the past it was fairly easy. Now where we move to a digital scholarship era, can we recognize the number of tweets, the number of blogs, the number of comments on the blogs, the number of links referring to your blog? And what are the ethics in all of that? The fourth aspect is the quality and the fragility of peer review. Research relies on the quality and the processes of our peer review. More and more scholars complain that they get articles to review and it's not quite their field. They would accept an article to review just to tick the box, while they don't actually have the skills or the competency or the background, whether it's the methodology or the focus, to really do a quality peer review on this article. The fifth aspect that we must take cognizance of is the changing journal landscape. Except for the fact that there's now tweets and blogs and the whole of digital scholarship that we need to take cognizance of, the journal landscape is changing in two significant ways. There's a whole move to open online publishing. The new thing to look for is to only publish in open journals. And what are the ethics around that? Is it ethical to publish in a paid-for journal? The second aspect we have to our disposal is the increasing phenomenon of predator and predatory or pirated journals, where as a researcher I may think it's the real journal, meanwhile it has been pirated and it's not the real journal. And then we have the predatory journals where I can publish and actually pay the editorial board to have my article published. The last thing is the notion of alternative metrics. Is it possible that we can consider the number of tweets, the number of retweets, the impact factor of my tweets, the range of my tweets, my blog, the number of hits on my blog? What are the ethical issues in that? The eighth point that I would like to leave with you is the ethical review process. How does the length and this detailed process of providing an account of the ethical decisions you took and take, how does that impact on our decisions and what we declare and what we decide to hide just to get this application through the process? And it's well documented, the tension between teaching, research, and community engagement. There's ethics in that playing field where some of us are better teachers than researchers, where some of us are better researchers than teachers, and where some of us just have this passion, not only for teaching and research, but our real passion lies in community engagement. It forces those of us that have a passion for community engagement and for teaching into a space where we may be tempted to take shortcuts. And the tension between those three traditional aspects of higher education is not of the academic making. The second last point I would like to leave with you is the individual researcher's moral compass. All of the above pressures, this whole nature of the playing field, when I'm a player on that field, all of the other players on the field, the nature of the field, the condition of the field, the referee, the audience, the crowd around it, all of that impact on my own moral compass. And how do we address the ethical issues in that? Do our institutions provide appropriate training and appropriate support for researchers to be able to make the right choices that we can live with? And the last issue is, I suspect there's a danger of too much, too soon, where young academics or young faculty coming into higher education, they must get their PhDs as fast as possible, and then they must start to produce research as fast as possible in order not only for their own reputation and their own alignment with the institutional structures and goals and objectives, but also to benefit the reputation of the institution. And my question to you is, how does that increased pressure impact on young researchers? And therefore my question is it possible that we expect too much too soon? Thank you for sharing these thoughts with me and sharing the space where we think about ethics in research.